It's time for that part of the game, the part of the game that sucks balls.
Oh, you mean where we
Oh.
have to find all the...
I would like to mention that as abysmal as the underwater gameplay in this game is, there isn't much of it, and it's actually serviceable for the 2.5 seconds you have to put up with it every now and again.
If it's so minuscule, though, what's the point?
Exactly.
Variety.
But
Devil May Cry 2 Devil
May Cry 2 brings back underwater gameplay, makes it third-person fixed camera, and basically makes it a major point to Lucia's entire game. So basically, you do a lot of it, and it's annoying.
I guess that's one of the reasons why everybody hates 2 then.
Is your jumping the gun a bit? Is your movement hindered underwater?
Yes, very much. Come on. Break.
Stop it.
I don't want the number to go up that much. I like
You
seeing
don't need them for anything.
Oh, it's randomly first person for some reason.
Yeah, the first person perspective in this game, in this underwater gameplay is, I don't know, kind of clashes with the rest of the game, but
It's an interesting idea, though. It's not like many games had a lot of first... Well, many games back then didn't have much first person to begin with, unless it was strictly a shooter.
Well, whenever I played Banjo Tooie, I always, once I got the underwater first person mode, I'd always use that to explore that, because it's just easier to see stuff in first person than it is in third person, because then you don't have to deal with camera bullshit as much.
I see that, though, and I immediately have, I think of the Serpent Trench section in Final Fantasy VI, even though that was 2D and you kind of control where you were going, except for the occasional left and right movements.
Doesn't even matter which direction you go in that section.
Make sure you pick up the needle gun. You won't be able to.
It's the only way you can attack underwater. Yeah.
Every time, Ted, just to answer that question, every time you're given the choice, don't move. Otherwise, you're going to miss treasure.
Oh, okay.
So the best way to play the game is do nothing.
Yes.
I'll keep that in mind when I replay Final Fantasy VI, maybe.
The only winning move is not to play.
Exactly. And the only reason why you're choosing right instead of left is so you can skip it and speed run. That's the only reason why you would do that.
Right. What am I doing? What am I looking for?
You know, the fact that it's early PS2 does sort of make the graphics look meh by default, but at the very least I do have to compliment the game for at least trying a lot of technical stuff, the way that you saw stuff underwater was as realistic as you possibly could get around this time, I'd have to say. So, there's that.
The lighting's really good too in this game.
Yeah. Because, it's the graphics have obviously aged a lot, but, I still think the aesthetics are relatively decent.
Well, I think the graphics and above all else, not that I'm saying they took all of the priority, but they had more significance than anything because this is 2001, where you're really trying to push the PS2 as a more powerful system. So the early games you make for the system really got to look good.
And the environmental design in particular is it really, every area looks good.
It's like a demo reel. You start with something really good and you end with something really good.
I like the graphics in general, particularly the character models, haven't aged well at all, but the environments still look very pretty.
I think that the thing that's probably aged the worst, and this is just in everything that came out in this time period. Although I think the fact that it's an HD port sort of emphasizes it, is that the texture quality is kind of bleh. But really, every game that came out around this point had bleh texture, so I'm not going to dock points from Devil May Cry for that.
Yeah.
Particularly when you got really close to certain objects, which I think the camera at least tries to hide some of that by having it so panned out.
Somewhat. It's also mostly so that you can see what's going on around Dante.
Because you got this grand painting that someone made, and from a distance it looks beautiful. Up close, that's when you can start picking it apart.
Yeah.
What, you mean those paintings that are just dots?
Yep, that's a good example.
There's a name for them, but I can't remember what that name's supposed to be.
We're not artsy fartsy.
I used to remember it, but it escapes my mind.
John's the only artsy fartsy person here.
I'm more of a literature artsy fart than like an artsy fart, honestly. So
Pointillism.
Pointillism. Okay.
Pointillism.
How did you figure that out? Did you type in those paintings where they're just a whole bunch of
I
dots
typed
into
in.
Googles?
I just typed in dot painting.
Oh.
I don't even know how I killed that guy.
You shot him.
So there's only one more gun left in the game to find, I assume, then?
Yeah, and it's an optional gun. I'll be getting it, and it's actually a really good gun in close quarters, like in narrow hallways and stuff, but it drains your magic meter every time you fire it.
Is this the
You have a
rematch
magic
with-
meter? Or
It's a double trigger.
Devil Trigger is
alright.
it doubles as your magic meter for other things, which in this
Just the,
game just means the Nightmare Beta gun and the time freezing item that you probably won't even know exists on your first playthrough.
Is this the rematch with Mother Flocker?
Yep. The ghost ship. You set the ghost ship drifting, and then the captain's cabin opens up for you. But then this asshole decides to fly in and blow out your torches, so the captain cabin just locks right up before you can go inside.
This guy must have
You guys ever seen Goonies?
Yeah, I was just about to say, this guy must have really hated the ending to the Goonies. You want to know what always confused me about that movie is that at the very end, Data says something about an octopus, and I'm like, what? Octopus? And then, I just years later, I look up on Wikipedia what Goonies, and it's just like, there's a deleted scene with an octopus, and it's like, oh, that's what he's talking about.
Oh crud! I hate this thing. This is Griffin's gimmick for this particular fight. The stupid fucking laser wing thing. What it'll do is the first time it hits you, it'll rocket you up into the air, and then the second time it hits you, it'll do damage. So basically, avoid it. Which isn't hard, but it's really disorienting.
So the trick to the boss fight is to avoid the shots and not get hit. Okay. Yeah.
It also draws your fire, though. As you can see by my air rage shooting it down.
So it doesn't lock on the main target.
Nah, the laser bird thing will register as the closest target to you.
Oh,
Oh,
because
yeah,
Dante
I
can't
see
get
it there, 'cause
because
you're-
Dante can't get the common sense to aim at the real thing.
Okay, I see what you're talking about, because the real enemy was up there, but you were just shooting at the ground for no good reason. He right there, he was just pointing back and forth like he was really confused.
Which way did he go, George? Which way did he go?
Oh, by the way, when Griffin dies in this battle,
Suicide attack.
he lightning strikes as he flies away. And he'll probably fly over the captain's cabin, so don't stand there.
That's a Kaiser trap.
Okay, so we're gonna
Mission
finally meet One-Eyed
complete.
Willie. Oh, there's a different artwork of Dante here for some reason. Alright.
Well, there's been different artworks, for almost every mission, actually.
Well, no, a lot of them were just Dante doing the pose with the two guns and sort of staring
Yeah.
at us. So for, I don't know.
Alright, and now we have the second part of the game, the part of the game that sucks balls. I don't like the ghost ship area. I really don't. It feels random and out of place. The Staff of Hermes, that item that opens up all the backtracking.
Don't you just love backtracking?
Actually, the backtracking section in this game is kind of creepy because everything is all dark and rearranged. Well, time for more swimming.
You don't have like a breath meter or anything, right?
No, you don't.
Okay.
Half demon.
Yay. In any case, we're going to be doing this entire mission underwater, so... As soon as you can...
You could defend yourself though when you're on. Yeah, you got.
You have the
this
needle
harpoon-
gun.
This needle
Yeah.
gun. Yeah.
You have to get the needle gun or else you can't
Basically,
do anything.
the blades don't really attack much at all. But when they do attack, it usually just takes like a half-inch nudge to the side to avoid their needles. So if you die in an underwater section, you're probably doing it on purpose, because I can't really imagine ever screwing this up. By
So
that
is
same
it just-
token, though, it's kind of tedious.
So is it just the fact that there's no real gameplay here the reason why everyone hates this underwater section? Because like
Yeah.
because like you're not really like fighting anything. You're just sort of pointing at the enemies and they fall down.
Yeah, more or less. And turning around to face the enemies is annoying too.
Is turning with the right analog stick, or you just gotta use the D-pad or something like that, or the analog stick?
Analog sticks, yeah. Okay, we got the one thing in this ship worth getting. Time to leave.
Is that something you can miss forever if you don't get it now? Or is it
No, I'm pretty sure you can go back into the ship and get it. In fact, you have to go back into the ship to get one of the secret missions, so yeah, you can go back and get it.
Okay.
At this point, the only reason I'm fighting these enemies is to boost up my mission rating.
But
Let's-
you don't need the orbs.
Does it
I
really
don't-
do? Oh well. Oh yeah. It gives you more orbs, but other than that, the mission rating doesn't really do anything, right?
The HT collection gives you a trophy, and there's a final mission ranking thing at the end of the game that tallies your results up. Yes, I S-ranked the other easiest mission to S-rank in the game. I are so badass and stuff.
Congratulations.
Quite.
You have proved the superiority of our culture.
Yes, that is the way of the future. We don't prove our cultural superiority by winning wars. We prove it by beating each other at video games.
By mashing A really hard to walk up those stairs.
No, you don't just mash A. You mash B sometimes to walk away from the
It
ghosts.
seems that in the United States got an S rank. North Korea got a double S. Shots fired!
The North Korea says they got a double S rank.
It's really just two Z's, but in a mirror, drawn in crayon.
And then Japan just wins against everybody.
Depends on the game, because if it was South Korea, then they'd win.
StarCraft, was it?
Yeah, StarCraft.
This is convoluted as all hell, because you actually have to go back into the ship after you beat the mission, and then go all the way back to the captain's cabin.
And then One-Eyed Willie will give us the secret mission.
Yeah, and then go back to the captain's cabin and examine the corpse. And the secret mission is just this. Big ass, wide open, underwater area, kill all 8 assaults, no time limit. It's the easiest thing ever.
Where are the racist 12-year-olds? We're shooting in first person and there's no racist 12-year-olds.
It's not online.
Oh.
No one is calling me a faggot. What is happening here?
Or saying they slept with my mother.
It's an FPS deathmatch that girls can play without being hit on. Ah. Ugh.
And that's why we're never going to do a Modern Warfare playthrough. Or actually, I probably shouldn't say never. We might run out of games at some point.
Yeah, give it 20 years.
Oh, by that point, we'll be dealing with racist 32-year-olds. Would it really be the same, though?
No.
Nah.
Well, in 20 years we'll have the PS9. And it better be that damn orb thing.
I'm still hoping that Pepsi makes those ridiculous bottles next year.
Oh, you know they will.
You know there's going to be a lot of people that are going to totally jump on the whole Back to the Future 2 thing. So I want my... Well, we got Power Nikes already in some sort of form.
Yeah.
I want hoverboard replicas of all models. The pink one, the one that... Was it Griff?
Yeah.
Griff had. I want Cafe 80s with Michael Jackson, Reagan, and Ayatollah.
You got to have the Pepsi in those special bottles.
Yeah, the Pepsi in a special bottle. The Cubs need to win the World Series. And Jaws 19.
Well, at that point, we might as well just let them. They've suffered enough.
I completely forgot this was here, and I only picked it up by accident, by the way. Free Untouchable!
Yay.
Untouchable is an item they never brought back after this because it was just that broken.
Wait, you said you could only
Yay!
hold one of those. You have two now.
The shitty
Or-
part of the game is over, except you need to jump into this pool to get another orb fragment.
Do you ever need to do underwater controls after this point in the game?
There is a short section later on, yeah, but it's very unobtrusive. It's just a small chunk of a larger mission. Alrighty then.
Back to the fighting.
Back to actually playing Devil May Cry for what we play Devil May Cry for.
Playing... No, we're not on Devil May Cry 4. We're on Devil May Cry 1.
You know what I think this game is actually sort of missing though when it comes to using weapons. There's no point of there's no flashy point of impact.
Like, no, like late whenever you hit an enemy.
Yeah, whenever you strike an enemy, yeah. Because as far as you're aware, you're just hitting everything with a blunt object, and that's not very satisfying.
Oh, they tried that in 2. Do you know what happened? What wound up
game
happening...
sucked.
No, you see, what happens is every time you hit an enemy with your sword, and all you have is swords, by the way, there's a line, a white line that appears where you slash them, and that's it. There isn't even any feedback. They just have a white line, and the enemy slows down a bit. Impact.
Best
Fuck.
game ever. 10 out of 10.